The next book I read in July was Ghost by Raina Telgemeier. This one I gave 3.5. I forget these characters' names, but this little girl's family, she has a terminal, not a terminal, but she has a, she was born with a, I think it was tuberculosis, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely something that has to do with her ability to breathe. And she can't get overexerted and she can't get too hot or too cold. So they moved from where she had been growing up to another town on the coast that's a little bit cooler weather, less allergies or something along those lines, and less allergies and things of that nature. The one thing that I will say about this is I really wanted more. Whatever the writing part is called in a graphic novel or a comic book, I wanted more of the writing, the more stories, because there's a few pages in here where there's like 2-page spread like this, where there's only one word on 2 pages or no words on the page, and I just felt like a lot of times opportunity was missed to tell more of the story or give us some more meat in this story, more sustenance, because I wanted more. I liked it. The art was very cute, very cool. I thought the idea of grief and Dias de las Muertas was talked about and handled well in here, as much as I can say from my point of view. I just needed some more. I needed more. The next thing I read in July was Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi. I borrowed this from the library as well as listened to the audiobook on Scribd. Once again, it would be the book Ghost that falls. Reading along with the physical book plus the audiobook has become my favorite way to read right now, especially in this self-isolation, this quarantine life, where I might feel like reading, but I need to do some chores or do some cleaning or whatever, and I just need to be free to move about. Audiobooks plus coming back and catching up with the physical book, so that if there's areas that are a little bit confusing, I can put my eyes on it, and sometimes I comprehend it a little better that way. But anyways, I said all that to say, I read Freshwater in that manner, and I gave it 5 stars. However, I know that I missed a lot. Even though I had the ebook and the audiobook, I don't think I got over 1.4 speed on this audiobook, but I know that I missed a lot because some of it just went over my head. I am not a literary, what would you call this? I don't know if you would call this a fantasy. I'll have to look that up, but I don't know what genre this would fit in. I sincerely have no idea. But the writing style is different from what I'm used to, and I still gave it 5 stars. The things that I did catch on hit just right. And I will read it again. I probably will buy it once I get off my buying ban. I will probably buy it and reread it then. So that I can, again, something about having a physical copy of a book, not just an ebook, and the audiobook has really been doing right by me. Oh, the other thing, I'm not sure if I brought it up here. I did. Can you see that? This was back ordered. I think I had like 4 or 5 days left before they were going to refund me, but this came in the other day. And this is Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. So I like their writing. I am excited to get into this one. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I don't know if I will wait until October to read it, but I have it and I'm excited for it. I didn't mention what Freshwater was about. It was about this girl, Ada, who again had a deity inside of her. I don't remember that deity's name. But Ada, it's a story about Ada who is born to parents, one being sensitive to non-Christian type faiths, and one being pretty strictly Christian, or had strictly Christian principles, I guess you could say, or Christian-like principles. And the story of Ada just, it's kind of like the story of what each parent thought was the best thing for Ada to do and how to live her life. And then it's also the story of how Ada goes about dealing with those, kind of going back and forth between the parents, and feeling like something else is going on with her internally. This is another book that you need to look up content warnings and trigger warnings for if you need those. There's some sexual violence in it. There is, I think there's a little bit of self-harm. Not a little bit, there's a bit of self-harm in this one. So just look up trigger warnings. I don't think I wrote a Goodreads review. If I did, it was only a couple sentences because, like I said, as soon as I closed the book, I knew that I needed to read it again in order to fully understand what I had just read. And the last book that I finished, there's one more book that we're going to talk about after this, but the last book that I finished in July was The Black Count by Tom Rees, and I gave this one 5 stars. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5-star reads between June and July. And that does sound, saying that out loud sounds kind of crazy. And I just never, that's never a thing. I never rate that many books 5 stars in that short of period of time. But I'm getting, like I said, I'm just getting a lot better at figuring out what I like and DNFing books when I don't like it. So The Black Counts, this was an experience. I started it close to the beginning or middle of June. No, I didn't start anything at the beginning of June. I started this at the middle of June, and I didn't finish it until like a week ago. But it's the story of the General Alexander Dumas, as well as the writer Alexander, the author Alexander Dumas. And what's crazy is I started reading this before my friend who eventually came on and started reading it with me started reading it, and we were watching Hamilton, and I started seeing some of the same events that happened in Hamilton happen in The Black Counts. Like, for example, Lafayette, that shows up in Hamilton, shows up in The Black Count. And when, I don't know if you watch Hamilton and you're a Hamilton fan, you know that part where Thomas Jefferson starts to try to take power, and Alexander Hamilton wants George Washington. Well, I don't know if Alexander Hamilton wants George Washington. No, I had that wrong. So in Hamilton, when Thomas Jefferson starts to take power, he's trying to convince he tries to convince George Washington to help France with their civil war, for their independence. And Hamilton's like, you're crazy if you think he's gonna try to do that. Meanwhile, in The Black Count, Lafayette is trying to ask America, hey, we helped you guys. Can you return the favor? And America's like, we're kind of busy. We don't really have McDonald's money. We appreciate you, but let us know when you get it together a little bit more, and we'll see. We'll check our planner and we'll get back to you. So I saw that it was just on point how that kind of aligns. And I was watching Hamilton nonstop and reading the audiobook of The Black Count. I also had a ebook of this, but the audiobook was just, and I think Tom Reese is the one who he actually narrates his own book. But I gave it 5 stars. If you like history, or if you're looking for a new nonfiction to pick up, definitely try out The Black Count. And trust me when I say there are points when it doesn't feel like a nonfiction book. There are points when it doesn't even feel like a book at all. It feels like a movie that's being acted out in your ear. It was just really captivating, and I love when a nonfiction book can grab me like that. And I will read. There's another one that Tom Reese wrote, and I forget the name of it, but I will definitely see if my library has it, and I'll pick it up. I did not read this in June or July, but I feel like that my August TBR is going to be so good and so jam-packed that I may forget some of the details of the Poppy War. I just finished this 2 days ago, which would have been the 1st, and oh, this was crazy. This is chapter 21. If you've read The Poppy War, you know what happens in chapter 21. Wow, what do you say? If you don't know what The Poppy War is about this girl, Ren, who just refuses to be married off by her adopted family, and so she trains for 2 years for an exam to get into the highest school in her land, so that she does not have to be sold off to be married to some old dude. And she does that. Things that she does that. Most of the people who take the test that she wants to take have been training their whole lives to get into that elite school, but she is able to not only make the highest mark in her township, but she also makes one of the highest, I think she has one of the highest scores in her whole area. And so she gets into the school of her choice, and things start to go kind of, I don't know. As soon as she gets to school, it sort of becomes something that she didn't know that it was going to be. And lots of things go on. I don't want to give spoilers, because even though this book came out in 2016? No, 2018. A lot of people haven't read it yet because the last book in the trilogy has not been released yet. And a lot of people like to wait till all the books in a series are out before they read any of it. So I don't want to give any spoilers, but I do want to say that 100,000% look up content and trigger warnings for this. Holy shit. And the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is I picked up Zone 1 by Colson Whitehead, and I was going to read this for the Literally Dead club. That's Lala's book club that she was reading this, or is reading this with Rachel Ray. But I DNF'd this. I did not like this at all. Again, it was just too descriptive. This book takes place over 3 days, and this is over 300 pages. All I'm saying is I don't need 2 to 3 pages of you telling me what New York looks like now and what it looked like before the apocalypse, all while you're being attacked by zombies. Like, that just really threw me off and turned me off. And so I DNF'd at about 80 pages. So I was trying to get to 100, but I just couldn't do it. I got this far in, and I couldn't do it. I will probably get rid of this and give it to somebody who I think would like it more than I did. But I'm not going to keep this on my shelf. So that's all that I read in June and July. Stay tuned for my August TBR and an unpopular opinion tag. I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all. Wear sunscreen.